Hi, this is Mike Hendrickson from OSCON 2015 in Portland. I'm here with Angel Diaz. Angel, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Good. So you're a VP at IBM,
right?
In charge of cloud and open source.
That's correct.
So you had a great keynote this morning.
Oh, thank you.
I thought it was excellent. And you talked about cloud. No, you talked about culture, code, and there was
community.
There was a third, right? Okay.
Yeah, community.
So how did you pack those three together? Why are those three important together?
Well, you know, we're living in a IT-fueled, developer-fueled business renaissance, all right? Specifically open source. If you look at all of the biggest innovations that have occurred, you know, certainly since the 90s when we were behind Linux and Apache, creating these planets within a galaxy of open source. But the one thing that I think we've learned, and the one thing I tried to stress to folks this morning, the importance of creating good code, but understanding that how you community and how you culture matters, all right? Because not everything is a big planet like OpenStack or Cloud Foundry. There's lots of great innovation that comes from Stardust, and you want to take that dust, bring it together, and create planets, because we all want to have an impact in the world, and an impact in society. And that, I think, is extremely important for open source developers to understand, because not all open source is created equal. How you license the code, right? How you contribute, and how you create community around it is what makes great things for all of us.
And so that's how you were talking about a superhero metaphor, that an individual working with IBM and maybe Bluemix and some of your open source tools can actually come from a small individual, small startup to a large planet.
That's right.
And that's the superhero metaphor?
Yeah, so you know, I was trying to draw an analogy, and I think all of us, certainly those of us who are computer scientists like myself, right, we kind of have this, you know, need to be a superhero in code, a superhero in code. We want to see our art form, that is computer science, the applications we build, be impactful. That's what drives us, that's what drives me. How do you do that? Well, you do that by working together. That's how you increase the impact of what you do. So look, let me just take a planet, for example, OpenStack. It's kind of a de facto industry standard for infrastructure as a service. We've got over 400 developers coding in the community, right? That's a planet. It's amazing the energy that's built around that gives this ability to have interoperability across clouds. All right. Let's talk about Stardust. We, at this event, launched the IBM developerWorks open site, where you can go and get access to literally hundreds of IBM open source innovations and build community around that, but understanding that the license is one that you can actually use, have a clear path to contribution, and a clear path to open governance. Because in the open source world, the worst thing that you can do is fork a piece of code and not be able to get the contribution back into it.
Right.
That's our approach to creating planets from dust. And I think, you know, more people who do that will accelerate this open source movement.
So this developerWorks program, I think you said developerWorks/open.
That's right.
Now, so where's the culture part of that? So the community part, I get what you were just talking about. So how do you layer in the culture part on that?
Yeah, good question. So look, you know, all these things happen by people working together. So one of the announcements we also announced here was an IBM academic initiative, all right? 200 universities, 36 countries, right? Because open source is global. Everybody works across the world, right? And how you open source matters as well. We're going out there helping professors build curricula around open source technology, around other areas of computer science, and we're giving them free access to actually build this on IBM Bluemix, our platform as a service. You can go from code to production in seconds. You can use all of your favorite open source technology. We're giving them free access to the infrastructure and accounts to go log in and do that. Think about what we did in the early days of Java. Java still is the #1 programming language in the world, tied with JavaScript, right? We did academic initiatives back then. We're doing them now, and that is going to push this movement of innovation further and further. It's exciting times.
So now IBM's had a really good history, a track record of innovating. You've got Watson most recently. You've got Smarter Planets. So how important has open source been to IBM in innovating and keeping on the forefront of what's going on?
Yeah, you know, it has been hugely important. You know, we've been involved in open technology since the early 90s. We helped create Linux Foundation. We helped create the Apache. We co-authored, we actually authored the Apache license, which is the most popular and frankly, you know, probably best license for open source today. It gives you full freedom of action. You know, it's market expanding, okay? but it is also skills expanding. If you're a developer and you have a choice, I want to write code that only works with one vendor or one technology. Okay, you can, maybe market yourself to a
limited amount. Yeah.
Or you choose writing code for a huge audience. It gives you a much broader impact. The good you can do is much bigger, right? That's our approach to open source. It's about empowering the world, growing ecosystems. But look, back in the early days, I got a little bit of gray hair, right? So when I was at IBM, you're laughing. I have more than a little bit.
I don't know.
A little salt and pepper. But back in the early days when I was working on, say, the HTML standards or working on Apache XML parser, right? I could not imagine, we as a group of academics could not imagine what we enjoy now. It frankly wasn't. Well, guess what? We're doing the same thing, but it's different. Because now end users, people who actually use the code, are involved in the open source process, okay? So the stuff that we're going to be able to do now with open source is going to completely blow out of the water what we did in the old days. So that's exciting, that's empowering, and that's what we're trying to do with open source.
So if you could fast forward 12 months from now.
12 months from now?
12 months.
You're going to ask me to predict something, right?
Yeah, well, I'm going to ask, where's IBM and open source going to be in 12 months? Because, you've got two great announcements here.
Right.
And I'm sure you're going to have many more announcements throughout the year.
Sure.
Where do you see IBM and open source in 12 months?
Look, we have been real clear what we've been trying to do. If you look at a lot of the areas of innovation, it's around cloud, data analytics, mobile, Internet of Things. These are all very important areas for innovation, for society, for our clients to get better business outcomes, what they're trying to accomplish. Frankly, as us as humans enjoy more. Each of those areas, we've been working real hard to create these centers of gravity around open source. I mentioned Cloud Foundry, OpenStack, same thing with Spark in the data area. Yep. What we're doing around mobile, whether it's Cordova to jQuery, right? Even all the stuff we're doing around Internet of Things. So we will do more of that. But specifically, one thing that we announced with our colleagues at Google and about 30 other folks is this cloud-native application foundation we just launched yesterday. Right? This is taking kind of the notion of containers and what we had done with the Open Container Project for portable workloads times 1,000. It is kind of the OpenStack for containers. I think you're going to see a lot of investments, not just from IBM, but from the community around that, because there's a real need for building robust transactional applications that are portable in a container model. If you tie together OpenStack, Open Power, Open Hardware, containers, and Cloud Foundry, you've actually built out an open cloud architecture. And look at this. It's not just the planets in this constellation, it is how those planets are threaded together and work together. And we're the only company that's actually leading in all of those planets. And I can tell you, all of my developers, they're focused on that because we are building out that architecture in our products. We need it to work together, and we encourage everyone else to do the same.
Excellent. Well, Angel, we look forward to watching you guys and participating on that journey this year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.